Target range for the federal funds rate. When officials say target range for the federal funds rate, they're referring to the benchmark interest rate that the Fed sets. When the Fed raises or cuts rates, they're influencing a short-term interest rate known as the federal funds rate. But the federal funds rate isn't just a single rate. It's a range of about 25 basis points or a quarter of a percentage point. Symmetric target. When the Fed mentions a symmetric target, they're talking about inflation. If inflation rises too rapidly, the Fed raises rates to combat it. If inflation runs too low, officials might cut rates to bring it back up. That's mainly what the Fed means by symmetric. The Fed cares about both inflation that's high and inflation that's low, whereas some central banks don't. But there's another complicated piece of jargon when it comes to inflation. Inflation expectations. Officials talk about this at length, but it's not as tricky as it sounds. Inflation expectations are simply referring to where you think inflation will be over time. In other words, if you think prices are going to rise a year from now, that's an inflation expectation. Neutral rate of interest. The neutral rate of interest is an interest rate that neither speeds up nor slows down the economy. Essentially, it's the Goldilocks rate, an interest rate that's neither too hot nor too cold. Baseline outlook. The phrase baseline outlook refers to the way Fed officials expect the economy to evolve. This includes growth, unemployment, and inflation. But as we know, things don't often go as planned. That's why it's just a baseline. Accommodative and restrictive. Accommodative and restrictive are words the Fed often uses to describe interest rates. Rates that are low are accommodative. They are stimulating economic growth. Rates that are high are restrictive. They're stabilizing growth or slowing it down.